What's going on, DMG Clan? Today we're going to take a first look at the RG Cube Anbernic XX. I know I said that weirdly. It really has shocked me so far. And yes, this is a long video, but I've covered a lot in this video, and I think you guys are going to like this. Now, here we go again with another Anbernic device on the channel, even though I said what I said in the past. So I'm going to level up your mobile gaming knowledge even more if you should get an Anbernic RG CubeXX in 2024. That's right, mobile gamers. So essentially, this is the very first mobile handheld that I've been sent by a company for review. So I've never had any of these other companies send me any devices whatsoever other than random controllers, docks, a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's kind of exciting to finally get a mobile gaming device for review. Reason being that they probably don't send me anything is because I'm pretty honest about my reviews, and honesty and reviewing products by being honest, I think, is the way to be. Not fake it until you make it. Even if you do get sent a million different devices, I want you guys to get the most upfront review that I can give you. That is, you know, from my first experience with the device, my second experience with the device, meaning I re-review the device down the road kind of thing, and share my thoughts with everybody that comes here. So the reason why I actually wanted this device is because I actually liked the RG Cube, and I never actually bought it because the price. And the price versus performance is something that I just didn't think I would like because of what I want to do with this kind of a device. That is playing games like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, any 4x3 console games that can actually handle being played on this, like PlayStation and N64, for example. I had the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, and I really liked that device, but I ended up parting ways with it because I thought somebody else would enjoy it, and I wanted something different. I almost bought the RG Cube a couple times, and then I reached out to Anbernic personally and said to them, hey, this is my YouTube channel, this is what I do, and I like to review products. And they said, why do you think that we should send you something? And I basically told them, I was like, a lot of people like Anbernic. I like some Anbernic devices. I don't mind the RG556. I never said I hated it. I just said I didn't like certain things about it, and I gave my honest feedback. And companies need to learn, especially these kind of companies, they need to learn that this criticism is basically a educational thing of telling you guys that, hey, you need to change this, or you should change this. It's not my company. Do what you want in the end. But if multiple people are saying change this about your device, then I think you should change it, or you're just not going to get business. So that is why I review things as blunt as possible, because I truly think that being blunt about these devices is better than just doing a scripted review about what you're going to get out of these devices. So let's jump in and actually take a look at this RG CubeXX. Again, I'm only expecting this to play PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, maybe some Sega, some Game Gear, some N64, and maybe some DS. So DS might be playable on this as well, but I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into. All I know is that it's in the box. I've got the black color. I didn't get a choice of this. They just sent me this. And yes, this is the box right here. And very much this is all that came inside of the box that I actually got from the company. And it was actually inside of a bag, inside of a box. And there it is right there. Now we have the device inside here. I have not looked at this yet. I just basically lifted it up just to make sure that it was in there. And then I'm guessing we have other stuff under here. I always like to rip apart the boxes. We got a little manual to tell you what everything is, and also tell you what the indicator lights are, main functionality. Again, I've only got the RG556, and it's just a device that I really don't really play that much, and I messed around with it a lot. I'm guessing this is probably just a USB-C cable, maybe. Hopefully it's USB-C. And yeah, it is USB-C to USB-A, and that is about it inside the box. And there's a little piece of cardboard here just to maybe hold the actual casing for the box in there. But not much to it. Cardboard box, more cardboard, and some paper. So we have a little manual, main interface, buttons, and this is a Linux-based operating system. So it's going to be a little bit of an interesting thing to see what it's all like. Game quality, game streaming, Bluetooth settings. So it does have Bluetooth, I guess. That's the other thing I noticed. There's nothing on the back of the box to say, hey, what's inside or anything. All it says is model number RG CubeXX on the front, which is really cool. And again, this company hasn't seen this for review yet. Now, it says supported platforms on this are PSP, PS1, supported platforms again. So supported platforms on this say PSP, PS1, Sega Saturn, I'm assuming, Dreamcast, NDS, N64, Arcade, GBA, GBC, GB, Super Famicom, Super Nintendo. Yeah, I want to actually try Super Nintendo on this. Famicom, MAME, Mega Drive, Game Gear, PC Engine, Neo Geo Pocket, and I don't know what SMS is and WSC is. I have no idea what those two are, but yeah, I am looking forward to this being a sort of 4:3 aspect ratio, because it is a 1:1 aspect ratio screen. From what I understand is that it's basically the RG Cube, but with a different chipset. And they changed the button layout to be more like the Retroid Pocket Mini, with the two joysticks at the bottom and the D-pad and the A, B, X, and Y buttons at the top. Now, first off, I really like black devices, and I really do I like the way this feels in my hands. Now, we have soft digital style feeling, analog actually more style feeling triggers at the back, and those are soft feeling R1 and L1 buttons too, so those are like a dome style feeling. They're not tactile or micro switchy or anything like that. ABX and Y button. This ABX and Y button does remind me of the ABX and Y. It's literally the same ABX and Y layout as the RG556. Same button layout, same thing. Now, I didn't really like it that much, only because I felt like the buttons were kind of too close to each other, but it never really did interfere with my gameplay or anything like that. I only said that in my initial review of the RG556 because I just didn't like the feel of it at the time, but there was an issue with the D-pad rocking, and this is actually like a Sega kind of D-pad kind of thing. That's what it reminds me of. I never really played Sega that much when I was a kid, but I do love Sonic the Hedgehog, and I do like playing Sonic, and that's basically it. And Mega Man, that was the only two games that I really remembered off of Sega. Game Gear, I played Jurassic Park and Sonic, so this D-pad is more of like a rocker style D-pad. I don't think that this will interfere with anything when it comes to the games that I'm planning on playing. And then we have the joysticks at the bottom. Now these are like the cheaper style, kind of Switch feeling style joysticks at the bottom. I wonder if we can upgrade these to Gull Kit. Now, would it matter for the games that we plan on playing? Probably not, because I'm planning on playing Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, any SNES, N64, or anything like that. We have a start and select and a mode button at the bottom. And oh, it looks like they actually... Oh, maybe not. Maybe they only gave me a micro SD card for the actual operating system, because I'm assuming that the operating system is going to run off of this 32 gigabyte micro SD card. So I don't know if they sent me a card with games or anything, so we're going to find that out as well. They didn't tell me that they were actually even sending me this. It randomly showed up at my door. UPS sent me a message saying, hey, we have customs clearance item, blah, blah, blah. Did not know what it was. I wasn't expecting anything. And yeah, this company has no recollect of this. Now, that micro SD card is a little bit finicky to push back in there, so I'm going to use pen. And why isn't it going back in? I put it in the right way. I'm pretty positive. Should I have not taken that out? I don't know. There we go. Now it went in. All right, so that was a little bit interesting. So yeah, we have down-firing speakers on the bottom, and it's got kind of a grippy feel, and it's got a nice raise at the back. Now, I personally like how it's got that raised bump at the back, and it does feel good in my hands. Like, I have bigger hands. I'm 34-year-old adult, and this feels good. This actually does feel good, and that was one thing that I heard was great about the RG Cube to begin with. Has the volume rocker USB-C. It's got a mini HDMI, and I'm not sure what this button is. I don't know what that is at all. Random button on the top, and a volume rocker, and yeah, that random button at the top. Maybe we'll have to take a look at the actual reset button. Okay, that's a reset button. Interesting. So a reset button. Never seen a reset button on any of these devices before, but I don't own a lot of lower end devices in my collection, to be honest. So let's power this on for the very first time and see what we have in store for us, if it actually will power on. And there it goes. So we have our Anbernic logo. There's a little light right there to determine that it's turned on. And the big thing, like I said, is that I'm going to be new to the actual Linux part of this, because I don't have any other devices that actually have Linux on them. I've messed around with Autosera once, and yeah, that was something that, you know, I didn't really play with too much. So game rooms, what does that mean? No games, RA games, app controller, apps. So arcade, auto load, and there's no games on it. So yeah, I didn't get any games on this thing. So file manager, oh, what did that do? So that brings us into an actual file manager. So it does show us the actual files and everything like that, so that we can know where to put our games. So ROMs, apps, Atarist, C64, Dreamcast, GBA. Okay, so there are folders that are specific for putting our games in these folders. So what I want to try out is just, this is basically what you would get if you didn't have the option of getting the one that has, I think there was one that said it has 10,000 games on it. Now, I'm very interested to know how they get away with doing that, because, you know, with everything, this is EMULAC. Okay, it's EMULAC that we're running on this. So, with the whole situations of, what does the mode button do? Select all, quit. Okay, let's exit out of that. Of Nintendo going after people and everything. It's like, I don't understand how. So we got a menu button. Okay, menu button goes into our system, where they get away with selling games or consoles with games on them. I don't know how that they get away with it, but that's something that I don't have to worry about, because I don't sell them. I just buy them, and yeah, hopefully I don't get in trouble for buying systems with fully functional games on it. So button sound, I can turn that off. And that turns off that annoying up and down. So it does have RGB light effects, actually. So look at the RGB light effects. That's actually really nice. LED settings, enable lighting effect, multicolor rainbow, always mode. What does that mean? Just one color. Breathe fast, breathing light medium. I think I like the multicolor or the monochrome. Oh, that would trip me out in the middle of the night. Now, the big thing about the soft buttons, you can change the brightness levels too and everything. So that's, I don't know if that's going to change much. Is this touchscreen? I don't think this is touchscreen. I think this is just an all-in-one only. Now, this brightness changing past 100% didn't really do much of anything. It's not a long press either. That's kind of unfortunate. You can't just hold down. Oh, you can use the triggers, though. Okay. Why is this brightness not really changing anything, though? These R1 and L1 buttons, they do allow you to change it in the 10s, in the 10 intervals. Now, it's not really changing the brightness, though. I don't really see. Oh, maybe this is the brightness for the joysticks. That's why. All right, yeah, that was a dumb dumb thing. So there we go. We got the brightness of the joysticks, not the brightness of the screen. Okay, I forgot about that. So we can change the speed of the joysticks too. So that can just make it so it's like super fast. Oh, I guess that was kind of what we were doing at the beginning there. And yeah, this is kind of interesting. Playing around with this, like I said, I'm new about this, and this is kind of interesting. We can turn them off too if we wanted to. I like it on. I'm going to keep it on, and yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Lock screen, we can change the intervals of how long it changes it to turn off. So 1 minute, I think that's what we can do is that's it, I guess. So system disk usage, And we have user disk image, so 16 gigabytes. So this is all running off of the actual micro SD card. It's only got 1 gigs of RAM inside of it, so LPDDR4 RAM, I think, is what I remember correctly. User disk usage, system disk image, and file extension type is ext4. Battery voltage, and that's one big thing I want to test out as well is, there's the RAM right there. So we have 737 megabytes of RAM. So the back button would be just your B icon, and date and time. So we can set our date and time to be our actual system date and time. Now, does this have Wi-Fi? It does. So it does have Wi-Fi. That's actually pretty cool. So enable Wi-Fi. Now, how are we going to set this up? So we got to go into our Wi-Fi settings, and is it going to actually, it is. It's just going to look for it. So I'm going to log into my Wi-Fi, and I'm going to test something out. So I have a Zima board, and that is something that I use for transferring my files around. I've done a video about that thing, and it's awesome. I love that thing, and I recommend anybody that has a lot of files on hard drives and multiple different hard drives to go get one of those. I told the company I would only mention it once, but I have mentioned it multiple times on the channel now at this point, so I think you guys should go get one. So, capitalized, I'm going to actually put in my password here behind the scenes and connect to the good old internet, because that is something that I was wondering if this thing would have, and it does. And it does have Bluetooth, I guess, too. So, Bluetooth for maybe headphones and stuff like that. I think that would be something that... Oh yeah, so it says I'm connected. Perfect. All right, so it did connect. It just took a second to connect there. Moonlight, so you can use Moonlight streaming, I guess, too. Bluetooth settings, so there's the Bluetooth settings right there. Connected devices, so let's check out to see what it takes to actually connect to some headphones. Connecting to headphones, take 1. So let's search for some devices. No devices scanned. Let's see if we can refresh. Now, these aren't my favorite headphones to, like, use for this, because they decide they need to connect to whatever device I had them connected to the last time. And there's my TV and my 3D printer. So I messed around with the Bluetooth settings a bit there, and I actually read the manual, and it appears based off of what the manual says, it might just be for controllers, but it does have an auxiliary cable jack on the bottom, or a headphone jack, whatever you want to call it, so that you can basically add a controller if you want to, if you wanted to maybe dock this using the HDMI port. Now, you can change things like RetroArch settings, I guess, language settings, network settings, icon settings, background settings. You can change the background here. That looks pretty cool. I don't know, maybe this one. This one actually makes sense. I like that. Yeah, I'm going to do that one. That one looks nice. And yeah, it's all about, you know, icon style. Change the icon style too. That's pretty sweet. How would you want that? Maybe, let's see. Which one do I like the most? I think I like this icon style right here. Now, is that the icons of the main screen? RetroArch settings, start RetroArch, reset RetroArch config, simple game menu. Okay, that's interesting. Background, button sounds, and buttons custom, joystick custom buttons, restoring joysticks, local buttons, clearing record, reboot, shutdown. Okay, well, okay, there we go. So we got the icon settings. We changed that. Now that looks a little bit more friendly to me. So we have the settings icon, search, history, game room, RA, app center. Now this is, I don't know. I don't understand what this means. So maybe I have to put games inside of these folders to actually understand this. Now what I did is I pressed this menu, system information. I forget how I got into my folders. I don't remember what I did with that to get into my folders. Settings, IO, date and time, RetroArch, settings. Turn. No. Because I ended up pressing a button and I don't know. So I'm going to test out some things. So we have our button testing here and everything. Start and select, volume rocker, menu. Yeah, all that stuff seems to work fine. How do we get out of here though? Menu plus start, moto, turn it off and on. Press the reset. I'll just press the reset button. That's kind of confusing. So understanding how to use the thing might be something that I take some time to do. If you guys want me to do a bunch of gaming on this, because I am going to test out a whole bunch of games and come back to this, I will. But this is my first impression sort of thing of this device and what it can do. Now, it's like I said, it's going to be a learning curve for me. Clearing records, shut down system information, lock screen, 1 minute. I just don't understand backlight brightness. Oh, okay, we can change the backlight brightness of the actual display. And that's the lowest of the display. It's not a, dark display, but level 4, level 3, that seems pretty good to me. Now, when it comes to like the lighting in my room and stuff, like that'll probably change depending on if I'm playing at nighttime and playing during the day or whatever. And again, this is just something that really is a cool little device for the price too. The price of this thing is under $60. Now again, I still have to go in and actually add all my games and everything. One thing I wanted to try out was to see if I can get into that menu again, and I don't remember what I did to get into that menu. It was kind of a weird thing. I don't know what I did. I really don't. Did I hold down the menu button? I have no idea, because I'm not seeing a way to actually look at my folders. Search, yeah, I can't really search anything. Favorites, nothing. App Center, oh, File Manager, right there. The App Center, that would make sense. So what I wanted to try to do, since I'm connected to the internet, is see if I can't really add any other options here or anything. So no, that's not something that's possible, I guess. ROMs, no. Going back out here. So config RetroArch, so you can configure RetroArch, downloads, overlays. So this is very interesting. I don't understand really where everything went. Let's connect this to the computer. I'm going to connect this to my computer. And again, this is something that I decided I'm going to do because I wonder if I can connect this to the computer and actually see it on the computer. So it can't connect to the computer. We gotta unplug it, maybe. So let's shut it down. See you later. And then, do we plug this SD card? So there's no tutorial in the manual. How to do things. It doesn't tell you how to put your games on it. It doesn't do anything like that. The company is just sending you this thing with a card. And somebody like me, which is really good, a non-biased person, because I've never used this before. Let's go to our ROMs folder. Okay, here we go. So I can see my ROMs folder right here. So this was just plugged right into my micro SD card slot on my computer. And it's not plugged into the actual computer. This is just me charging it, right? So if I go and grab my games and stuff, so I'm going to do that right now. I am going to go into my emulation folder, and maybe grab my BIOS files as well. So I'm going to grab my PS1 BIOS, copy that, and kind of a little tutorial for you guys, I guess. So where we got? LMNOP. Maybe we just have to put the BIOS right here. Maybe there's already BIOSes. It looks like there's already BIOSes in here. Okay, there's already a BIOS in here. So maybe we don't need to put our BIOS in here. What am I doing? I'm going to paste it in here anyways, just in case. Replace file and destination, sure, because this is my actual BIOS from my device. Maybe I should undo that. I don't know. Who cares? It's my actual BIOS. So yeah, we have BIOS already in there. Saturn BIOS, is that already in here too? We can double check all that. We got Sega. Yeah, I'm going to grab all these and see if it says replace. Skip these files, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to skip them because they're already in there. So the BIOS files, that's pretty cool to note that you already have that all in there. Okay, so BIOS files, we can put our saves in here, I'm guessing. So ROMs in the ROMs directory. Saves. We don't have folders for saves, so that's kind of interesting. I wonder how that would work. But I'm going to put my ROMs in the ROMs directory. So I'm going to put a GBA set of ROMs in here. Emulation, ROMs, GBA. And these are just my GBA games. I don't have a lot of GBA games because I didn't dump a lot of GBA games. So I'm going to paste those in there, see how fast that transfers over. And that's the other thing too, is like we are using just their generic micro SD card. And yeah, I had to unplug that from my device and plug it into the computer. Now, what about GBC? I'm going to copy all these over, and I will come back to you when I'm done doing that, because this does take a few minutes, but it is a good way to see, hey, how this actually is a process that you could do and how easy it is to do, because again, I'm not going to be expecting to play anything but the games that I'm putting on here right now and the systems that I'm putting on here right now, like the ones that they say it should play really well. So like N64, for example, I'm going to try to test out some N64 games. I'm going to test out a couple Mario games off of Nintendo DS. So maybe Mario Kart, Pokemon Diamond, Heart Gold, and Super Mario 64 and Yoshi. Okay, those are the games that I'm going to try out, see how that all pans out, and I will be back when I'm done copying these all over. And that's the only part that I'm really going to just cut out for you guys. Okay, so now that those are all copied over, we're going to plug this back into this bad boy, because like I said, I like the feel of this thing. The plastic actually feels really nice. It doesn't feel like it's smudgy or anything. Hey, that actually went back in properly this time. This is my fingerprints. My fingerprints are a little bit sweaty right now, and it's not holding on to that. Like the material that they used for this, I actually like the material that they used for this, and I like the buttons and everything and the feel of this thing, so I'm not going to complain about that. Now, let's see what happens after we have successfully transferred over all the games that we want to transfer over, because like I said, I'm going to be playing more lower end stuff rather than expecting to play like 3DS or anything like that, because I highly doubt it's going to play any 3DS. It says it doesn't anyways. So we got the little light reset button maybe. So yeah, this reset button does just reset it so that if you have any problems while you're working on it, like I did with the Bluetooth, I was not able to get my Bluetooth headphones working, which is not a big deal in any sense or regard, but it does kind of suck that it doesn't allow you to use Bluetooth headphones when this day and age we can, you know, have Bluetooth headphones. I tried two different headphones. I tried my main headphones these are my backup headphones, and I tried my main ones that I use on my PC, which are my gaming ones, and it just didn't work. So let's go into our game systems here. And yeah, it does pick up that we have PS1 games, NDS, GBA, SNES, and there's our game list. Now, I wonder if we can actually scrape these games and get the images. Pretty positive we probably could. Now, what about just jumping right into it? And, oh, cool. Cool, it's got a top and bottom. That is awesome. Okay. I wonder if we can change things, though. Can we change video display effect, HD, scan lines, backlight brightness, exit game, video display effect? I don't know. Dot matrix, HD. Interesting. So it's got overlays for us. And it is running the games at their native resolution, it looks like, but how does it play? So I just want to get into the actual gameplay and everything and actually play a game and see how it plays, because that is the main thing, is just being able to play on this. This is a smaller screen and everything too, right? So don't expect, you know, high-end resolution gaming on this thing, but honestly, being able to say that you can play Super Nintendo on a little handheld like this in 2024, and it does feel comfortable right now, and it feels good in my hands, and this rocker D-pad and everything with the button layout and everything, it does feel really good. I am not going to complain about this. Like, I really am being non-biased about this just because they sent it to me, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I ended up actually buying two of them, because I didn't know if the company was coming out with these or actually going to send me this thing. And yeah, I bought two of them, and stay tuned for that, why I bought two of them, because yeah, I bought two of them. That's all I'm going to say right now, but I bought two more of them, so I'm going to have three of these just sitting around. I might give one to one of my daughters too, just to play around with, and yeah, we're going to check those out when they arrive and see. Now, I didn't buy them with games either, so at least we kind of know today, as of today, how that all worked out. Now, this is high volume. This is the highest volume. And that is the sound, what to expect. It's not bad speakers. Like, they're not bad sounding for retro games. What are you expecting for retro games, right? Like, you're going to be playing on old school games that didn't have surround sound capabilities or anything like that. So it's like, why would you even care if that even is the case for retro games? And that is why I got this. I have my Odin 2. I have my Asus Rogue Ally, and I honestly don't play a lot of my, classic 4:3 aspect ratio. Oh, crap. 4:3 aspect ratio games on those that often, because I do like this form factor of the screens. And I do have my Game Boy. I get my Game Boy Color. I have my Game Boy Pocket. I have my FPGA or FPG GBC. And honestly, I really don't touch those that much because they are outdated and they do get my, my hands get a little bit crampy. And the GBA itself, like the GBA is my favorite handheld out of all of them. And I still don't really go and play that because it is kind of outdated and I just kind of don't really care to play that much anymore. I did go through a phase, but I honestly just think that modern handhelds like this are really getting to be good. And for the price of this thing, I highly recommend buying one. I really do recommend getting this thing, and that is saying a lot coming from me. If you guys know me, if you don't know me, I basically kind of bash the RG556, and I do, say things about why does Anbernic like release things every 5 seconds. And it is something that I think that the company does need to like slow down on. It's not releasing these every 5 seconds. And they did a good thing with this. I like how this is. It's sitting at the top and stuff. So press the menu. Let's go save game. Save state, empty slot 0. And yeah, that was pretty quick and easy. Exit game. Let's go out of the game and let's jump into maybe like a Game Boy game or something. Because I really love... What about PS1? PS1? Yeah, I got PS1 in here. My Game Boy Color games, Pokemon... And we're going to go into Pokemon Gold. Let's see how nice that looks. And cool. It does have borders around that as well. That is actually really nice looking. Look at that, guys. I love it. That is cool. Now, again, I do want to look at, changing like the game scan lines so we can have like an old school effect to that. That is cool. The sound, it reminds me of the original Game Boy. And what about fast forward buttons? Like, does it have like the ability to just fast forward through things? No, that's not the time. But we can change everything. Like scan line 2, what does that do? Just changes the scan lines. What about video effect fast? Oh, is that more of a enhanced graphics? That does actually look good. I like this. This looks really nice. I know it might not look the greatest on the screen. Here we go. There we go. How about that? Does that look a little bit better? Now, I like how it has the borders because that is a little bit loud. Now, you can't see the volume, what volume level it's at, unless you maybe go to the menu. Oh, yeah, you can go to the menu and then change that. So, fast.matrix. I don't know what that means. Oh, yeah, all the dots. Okay. HD again. So, fast, maybe... What is the difference between this and HD? Oh, HD has like a bilinear blur to it. So that is kind of like it's got like an overlay blur to it, whereas the fast mode, which I'm going to check that out for Super Nintendo, because really, with this border, I would not even second think that this is a 1x1 720p by 720p screen because of those borders. They did that really well. And honestly, the square, like I always played my games that are 1x1 aspect ratio, 4x3 aspect ratio, 3x7 aspect ratio, whatever, like this. I never would play any of these games stretched out, whereas I like to stretch out my PlayStation games and stuff like that, but with this, obviously, you won't be able to do that, and I am interested to see what PlayStation's all about. So, are you ready for your own journey? Yes, I am. And yeah, I'm not going to play right into this. I'm just going to get into the opening credits so that I can actually get into the game, because I actually might play the crap out of this tonight. So, I'm going to save this, and really get back to you guys about how well this plays. So let's go and check out PlayStation quickly, save game, do a save state as well, why not? And let's exit out and go into PlayStation, because honestly, I know this is going to be a 1-hour video, but I wanted to just go into this. Let's go to PlayStation Spyro, because Spyro is my pastime, and they did do the same thing with this, with the overlay. And we have the 4:3 aspect ratio. Now, again, we did video display effect is fast, scanline, dot matrix, HD. So, I don't know what I like more. I guess we're going to have to try to see. So that's HD. And if we go fast, I think fast is the best. I think fast looks the best, and it just looks good that way, and it looks natural to me. Now, I wonder if we can change things like the resolution, all that kind of stuff. Now, I guess this probably wouldn't be the most powerful processor to like upscale this 2 times or anything. I'm not sure if this is already upscaling it like 1.5x or not, but it really does. It looks good. It looks good on this small display, and you're just playing the game as is. Basically, better quality screen, obviously. Not a CRT TV. It would be kind of funny if we could ram a CRT style TV small display like this. But yeah, we can use the joystick for actually moving our character around and stuff, for moving Spyro around. And it actually doesn't feel too bad. And I like the way that this joystick actually is placed, and it doesn't feel... It's like an actual PlayStation, right? Because the PlayStations are symmetrical. So it doesn't feel that crazy to me. It does feel nice. But you can just use the D-pad still. And the rocker D-pad, this is good. I like this. And I do play a lot of PlayStation on my Odin, but I might just use this as my main PlayStation device, and then use my Odin 2 as my powerful device for higher end stuff, because honestly, I sometimes get confused what I'm playing. And if I have a device like this that I can, you know, just put in my pocket too, and yes, I know I always laugh about people saying, is it pocketable? Really, this would be pocketable because of how low the joysticks are and everything, and how small form factor it is. It's something that I would recommend to anybody that is looking for something on the go, that doesn't care too much about the highest quality graphics of these games and everything, and does want to enjoy just the normal, you know, gameplay, and enjoy just playing the game. Because right now, so far, no stuttering or anything like that so far again. And I was able to jump in and out and understand myself how to just set it up quick. I showed you guys how to set it up kind of quickly there, but it does come with a BIOS inside the 32GB card. Now, it doesn't come with games, but that's okay. I don't think you should buy cards with games on them anyways, because for one, the company should not be probably selling cards with games on them, honestly. But yeah, that's a me thing, and that's my opinion. So I'm going to get this next dragon, and next time I'm going to be sharing my final thoughts about this thing. I'm going to do a save state here and give you guys more of an insight about how well it runs everything, because I'm actually going to play a lot of games on this that are 4:3 aspect ratio, Game Boy Color, and some DS and stuff like that as well. I'm going to go into Pokemon Diamond just because maybe I'll play Pokemon Diamond and Heart Gold, and look at the bezels of that. I guess, you know, is it really worth it for Nintendo DS after seeing that? I don't know. Maybe we can turn off the bezels. Configure controls, firmware, change options, change controls, firmware cheats, load state, save state, figure options was not, okay, there we go, frame skip, high resolution 3D. So this does look like, maybe this is, I don't know what core this is using. Threaded, none. Interesting. I go back. I just pressed the start button, by the way, when I did that. Exit without saving. Configure controls, okay. Exit without saving. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Configure firmware, username. So it is Drastic. So it's Drastic background or backend. So that's pretty interesting to see that. I'm assuming based off of the fact that this is Dr. Drastic. Light slate, favorite color, redwood. Deep chestnut. Sure, I'm gonna do deep chestnut. Save for all games. Configure load state. Save state. All right, we saved the state. Now, changing the options, I wanted to get rid of... Ooh, change the screen orientation. See what happens when we do that. I must have did something here. Change options, frame skip, automatic. Wow, it's really zooming. I don't know. On the screen, yes. Oh, can't really touch buttons on the screen, by the way. So, DS games? Interesting. So, since it's not touchscreen, we won't be able to actually touch the buttons on the screen, and I'm curious as to what we should do with that. So, touch, cursor up. So, JSO axis. Okay, so that's just all about... I'm not going to change anything here. Exit without saving. Done. Don't think I changed anything. Weird. Okay, well, I'm going to try to figure out some DS. Come back to you guys next time I do another review about this, and I highly recommend getting one. $60 plus $7 off if you can get it before October 25th. The device feels good in the hands. It feels nice in the hands. It is a nice 4:3 aspect ratio, sort of 1:1 aspect ratio device. I really think if you're looking for something like this, that is kind of easy to set up. This is Drastic, by the way, and get going, then definitely get one. I am saying that because, honestly, oh, we can do RetroArch. That's interesting. So Super Famicom and Donkey Kong Country, and then maybe this is just going to allow us to get into the RetroArch side of things. And yeah, we can. Okay, cool. So I'm going to mess around with this thing, come back to it, let you guys know what my experience is, because obviously I do want to like try to change the scaling and stuff like that and the resolution and stuff for my Super Famicom games, because what's the point of playing this if it does look like the original? Depends on you, I guess. Maybe you like the original graphics of Super Famicom games and stuff, but RetroArch versus the actual Game Center, let's see what the difference is. When it comes to that, if you guys want me to do maybe some live gaming on this thing, let me know. And it seems like RetroArch is handling this a little bit better. I noticed a little bit of stuttering when I was playing it on whatever the other platform was. I'm not sure what they were using as the back end, but it was kind of stuttering. I don't know. But still, again, like this, that looks pretty cool as the border. And it doesn't really affect how I feel about the device and how it looks and everything. And core options, we can change like all the, 4:3 crop, overscan, 8 pixels, all that kind of stuff. But they really did do their actual work with this so that it's just kind of set up for you. Now, auto, what does that do? Oh, that would probably just change it. Okay. So preserving like the actual settings and everything. It still looks good. It's a small display. What do you expect, right? And it plays well. So I'm going to go play some Donkey Kong Country and see how far I can play on this. I already have some game saves and stuff for Donkey Kong Country, but I'm going to play all the way through. And if you guys think I should play on this, or maybe even play on this while plugged into a computer or something, or into my capture card, then let me know. Have a nice day, guys. I love you all. I know this is probably the biggest, longest review I have ever done on this channel. But I really wanted to put it in perspective of doing something different for you guys rather than you guys seeing a scripted review about the device in under 10 minutes, because this is my first experience, my first non-biased experience, because I've never owned one of these devices before, and I've never owned a Linux kind of device before, like of anything. And I know I had the RG556, and I said my piece with that, but I really like this, and I hope Anbernic likes my review, because again, this is my first review of anything, and I'm gonna just cut it there. Have a nice day. See you later. Love you all. Bye-bye!